welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren, this is Daisy, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the novel Safe by Ryan Gattis. Now before I start sharing my thoughts on this book, which there are many, I wanted to preface this video by saying that this was one of the surprise books in my surprise box of stories book haul, which I posted a few weeks ago, and I'll link in the little description box below if you are interested. Box of Stories is a book box subscription and a one-off book box. So they separate it out by crates of fiction, non-fiction mixed, and they basically curate a box of 4 random books from undiscovered authors, send it to your door, and then you have 4 books that you didn't know you had, and it's pretty great. And this book was in the mixed box. When I first saw this book, I definitely underestimated it. I think from the cover and from the quote by Paula Hawkins, I definitely thought it was going to be a really scary book, and I do not like horror books at all. I also read before I go to bed, so thriller, horror books are not my cup of tea at all. I know that if I'm going to read before I go to bed, I'm going to dream about it and it's going to be terrifying and I'm going to have nightmares, and I don't want to have nightmares. I want to have nice dreams. But I gave it a go anyway. I've never really read a heist novel, so I don't really have anything to compare it to apart from my own preconceptions of what a heist novel is. But I definitely didn't expect it to be so story driven and so character driven actually. And I think that's one of the key things that I absolutely loved about this book, and that the author did really well, is that he captivated his audience by telling the story through the eyes of the 2 protagonists, Glasses and Ghost. By like 50 pages in, they both have really strong backstories, so even though you can kind of tell that what they're doing is not maybe right or legal, it's a heist novel, you can tell from their backstories that actually like different things led them there, and yes, there are things that they've done in their past that they're not proud of. Yes, that they might not be proud of this, but this is not what makes them them. Like, there is so much more to them than these actions that they're taking right now. Essentially what they're doing is they're trying to look after the people around them. They're trying to look after their families and their friends, and it's just really human. And yes, they're flawed characters, but you see them as humans. And although I thought that this was a great way of telling the story, I found it really difficult to read Ghost sections at the beginning. You can understand what the words mean, but it's like how he speaks is just so different from anyone I've ever heard speak. I just kept on having to reread what he had said, and it was really frustrating. I don't like reading books and then having to reread sections because I just haven't got it and I haven't got a clue what's going on. I found it really, really difficult to get into, and I think we don't necessarily talk so much about the books that we don't really get into because it's really easy to stop reading the books that you don't get into. But I did persist with this one and it was worth it. As I was saying, 50, 60, 70 pages in, the story became so powerful and engaging, and it just sucked you in so much that any discrepancies or kind of difficulties with the language that I found, they did disappear. Before I go on, I think it's probably a good idea to give you the blurb of this book to give you a little bit of context. 2008. LA is a city in crisis. There are no jobs, no money, and no houses. Ruddy Reyes, aka Glasses, is a drug runner turned double agent who wants to go straight. And Ricky Mendoza Jr., aka Ghost, a master safecracker with terminal cancer who's got nothing left to lose. When Ghost steals hundreds of thousands of dollars from a safe owned by Glasses' boss, an LA drug lord named Rooster, he risks sabotaging Glasses' deal with the DEA. As Rooster closes in on him, Glasses does whatever he can to keep his deal on track, putting his livelihood at risk, his freedom, and his family. From the acclaimed author of All Involved, Safe is a modern-day morality tale, a bold, twisting, and heart-stopping thriller. And you get sucked into this world immediately. You're there immediately. Chapter 1, Ghost is taking a chance. He's taking the money And he's rationalizing it, and you're hearing his rationalizations, and this is what he says. Families, little kids, people getting tossed in the street, bellies going empty. Here's what you don't read, but most people should just know. When the economy goes down, crime goes up. Average people do what they can and maybe they don't drown. But people on the bottom got to make ends meet somehow. Mouths don't feed themselves. And even if you've never been in Glass's situation, if you've never had contact with this world, you immediately just get it with the drive to look after yourself, to look after the people around you, to look after your loved ones. One of the things that this book does really well is humanizing the main characters. Even Brewster, who is like the scary drug lord who everybody's scared of, and he has such a name for himself. He's humanized. You see him in his house, you see him eating dinner, you see him watching TV, you see him like with his daughter, and you realize that actually, even though he is a scary man, he is also human. That's likely why the Daily Telegraph, on the back, they say that this is one of those rare thrillers whose characters will stay with you after the final gunshot has finished reverberating. Whilst they may know that there are other options out there for them, they're almost stuck with one foot in the past. And I think this is the key thing that separates Glasses and Ghost, is that Ghost is almost stuck in the past. He is replaying the past over and over and over, whereas all Glasses wants to do is escape from it. Overall, even though I wouldn't have chosen this book if it was in the bookshop, I'm really glad that I did read it. It was really powerful, really thought out. The characters could have easily been exchanged for one another if circumstances had been different, and I think that you see that very clearly. The story shows that these people do these things because they feel they have to. This is just how they understand the world, and this is just the world they grew up in and what they know and the trauma they know. It's true, you never really know what someone else is like, someone else's life is like, until you walk a mile in their shoes. I think that's a important thought to end this video on. Have you read this book? If so, what did you think about it? I would be really interested to know. Until next video, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!